Well, welcome back to Muddy Boots, South Louisiana, Homestead. I'm Thomas, and today we're tearing down April's pool. The hurricane took her pool out several years ago. We argued with the insurance company and evidently lost because they hadn't paid us nothing. So we're going to demolish the pool. We're going to keep the skimmer, the filter, the heater, the inlet, all the piping. See if we can't reuse a bunch of it. Maybe. If not, we'll just go from there. But we're going to demolish the pool. The deck over there is in really good condition, so we're going to keep it. We're going to try to, at least. Well, that's all pretty nasty. Close the door, make it a little quieter for you. Kind of sad about losing the pool because April used to like laying out in it. Being we live way out here in the country, there's really nobody to see, so she never wore a bathing suit. We also enjoyed barbecues, having friends over, everybody hanging out in the pool, having a drink, relaxing. Made the summer go by a whole lot nicer sometimes. We talked about getting another one. We talked about building one since we have an excavator. Those are all options that are still on the table. Thought about getting one of those Intech pools that have the really heavy duty liner on them. and burying it in the ground, but I'd have to do something about the metal pipe supports because they would rust. So I'd have to change them out for plastic or maybe fiberglass. I do happen to work for a fiberglass company, so I could always buy some fiberglass pipe, trade it all out. That wouldn't be terrible. These steps we're trying to keep, they're also weighted down with a whole bunch of rocks. There she goes. She's got her steps. They're all safe and sound. Now, as long as I don't destroy the deck, I'm okay. I'm not in trouble. Everything else is trash. Is some really nasty stuff, I can tell you. This pool has been sitting abandoned for several years, since the last 2 hurricanes come through, and I can tell you that doesn't look pretty. So you're going to see a couple different layers underneath there. You're going to see that blue layer, that's on top of the sand. That's just a tarp. You'll also see a black layer. That is a barrier, like I think they call it gorilla mat in the pool world. That is some really high, strong matting that keeps roots and everything from growing through it. You see that white layer over there? All that is a foam insulation made to make the bottom of the pool much softer. And I'll tell you what, that stuff was really nice. I did really appreciate that foam insulation. Yeah, we're gonna need a roll-off dumpster for this. So the goal here is to be able to get to the deck and be able to pick the deck up. Got a pile of junk right here. Get all this out the way. An old burn pit. Old fence gate. Couple of old T-posts that are destroyed. Some more old fencing right here. Remember why that burn barrel was there? There's a stump right there. There's any more pipe in there. I don't notice any. I don't know how aggressive I'm going to get with this stump, but yes, I'm using a rake to dig a stump. I have this rake and I have a 12-inch bucket for trenching. I can tell you, I have pulled many a trees down and many a stumps out with this rake with no issue. This rake does a fantastic job. I recommend it to everyone I talk to that has excavators. Some of them all look at me like I'm crazy. Again, I can tell you, many a stumps have come out of the ground with this rake. An old pine tree, and I can tell you it's got a nasty taproot down in there. These pine trees that grow down here, they got some of the weirdest taproots I've seen, man. They are huge. Guys up north pull trees out all the time. Any little baby taproots on them, I just start laughing. April and I think to ourselves, hey, why don't they come down here? They can try and pull one of these taproots out. I'm thinking this bad boy just doesn't want to come out. When I tell you it's not unusual to have a 15-foot deep hole, it's not unusual to have a 15-foot deep hole. I guess we're going to dig this thing out. I wasn't going to. I didn't want to, but I guess we're going to. That's going to be some nasty, wet mud, I can tell you right now. So I did check the fluids on this thing before I got in it. I did grease it all up. It takes a full tube of grease to grease this. I can already tell you this stump's going to be mean and ornery. Anticipating tearing a tree stump out of the ground today. Wasn't anywhere near my radar, but see how quickly things change on the property. Now, is that me not being able to adhere to a schedule, or is that me more ADD and getting stuck on something else that I wasn't supposed to do? Probably. Who cares? Got to come out. It's going to come out. This dirt is not playful at all. used to have a barbecue pit back here. We had a table, an umbrella up on the deck. You see the remnants of the old Coca-Cola chest over there? That was a little ice chest inside of it. There to keep all our drinks cold. I'd come out here after work, drive back here with the truck. You used to be able to drive back there behind the pool. I'd drive the truck right up to the pool, get out, get undressed, jump in the swimming pool. April would come out, we'd hang out for a little bit. Take some of this mud off of here. This back a little bit so I can see what's going on in this hole. I know everyone's telling me go around the other side and dig the other side. Trust me, I have pulled many of pine stumps out of this property. I'm talking a couple hundred trees over the years. The reason why I'm kind of taking my time to do this instead of focusing back on what I was supposed to be doing, I got a secondary use for this hole. We're getting down into some good clay now. See that rake? It just looks like a 24-inch bucket when you go to digging. Put enough clay down here, it all sticks together. It acts like it just wants to do, just like a bucket. It doesn't have the digging teeth of a bucket, it's got a rake teeth. But even those, they do a pretty good job. Real fancy about this rake. It's a tag manufacturing rake. It's a 24-inch. Looks like she's starting to be less ornery. Oh shucks, that one was just a little one. Much to that one at all. Take it over here, drop it in one of our burn piles. Another piece of the tap down in there. I'll try and get it out. we speared that one. It don't want to come off. Well, that's being really ornery now. Leave all that right there for now. So I was going to dig a deeper hole, put the pool down in there and burn it, along with a bunch of other stuff. But that hole didn't end up being near as deep. One of the last ones I dug up was over there on the side of the house that's cleared over there. That hole, I tell you, I kid you not, the whole hole was 12 foot deep. I maxed this thing out on how far I could dig down, and then I ramped it and dug some more. We're just gonna dump all this stuff in there. Not really too concerned about what layers were where. This whole back here area, once this pool's out of the way, once that deck's out of the way, that'll be another year's project. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it exactly yet, but I'm sure we'll come up with some ideas. We talked about maybe making this new area over here the dog's yard, coming off on a different angle so that we can occupy more of the house right there by the door. That's going to require putting a dog door in the wall. We'll see how all that works out. Just have to stay tuned for that one. I'm just going to roll over here. Push all that in. Seeing as I'm just making a big old mud hole. Awful bouncy. I'm not even in rabbit mode. I don't think it's going to get back to grade. Just because that stump was in there, but I can move all that because I got a huge old pile of ash right there I need to kind of think about getting rid of. branches right now. Seem to have a whole lot of traction on that right side. I don't know what's going on with that. It got me some slurry mud or something. Louisiana's infamous for that gumbo mud. Drive on it 1 or 2 times, you're good. The 3rd time, you're stuck. Now, we're going to be stupid and try and limp off in there and see if we can't track that in, because I don't know if that's going to be a good idea or not. It just sounds like a bad idea in a happenings. Have to put a do not drive obstacle right here. Kind of keep us from driving off in there with this or the tractor or somebody else trying to come back through here doing something. That is some gooey wet gumbo mud. Sure enough. Was a piece of wire there. Thought I was hooked on something. Like I got hung up on something. piece of corner stripping. I wonder what that was. It looked like a piece of wood. Don't look like it's built awful good, huh? Let me back up out of here a minute. See what I can see. I'm also trying not to get my boots all wet, playing in the mud. I need to pull that big old set of staircases right there out of the way behind April. Now, the staircase that's over on the other side of the deck, that was built by the deck people. This staircase, well, that was built by me. When I tell you I think this thing's tough as nails, I pretty much think this thing's tough as nails. I want to try and save this staircase. Without tearing it up. And we're gonna need to go this way because there's a old tiki torch right there. Nah, this ain't sketchy at all. Heavy weight lifting over the side of a hole. Yeah, I fall in that hole, I'm gonna flip this thing sideways, upside down. That'd probably not be good. Okay, staircase number 2 taken care of. Yeah, it's gonna take a month of Sundays for this to dry out. Should have maybe not dug that hole. Okay, we should have a whole bunch of concrete blocks right here. We want to keep all these. These are good blocks. Figure out where we're going to be able to stack them. Man, it is muddy back here, buddy, I tell you. Anybody tell you it's okay to go digging after it rains? Man, they lying. Well, we have had a lot of rain over the course of a couple weeks. And this ground, it is saturated, as you can tell. Like April's back there getting a little frustrated. It's starting to sprinkle out. Didn't want to drop that one that hard. Looked like we did anyway. I got a feeling I'm going to need these, and I think I'm going to need to buy some more, so I'm trying not to destroy any of these blocks. It's like 5 right now, I think, whoever's keeping count. But it looks like maybe there was 8 over here. Let me count how many legs are underneath this deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm gonna need twice as many blocks as I've got right now. So the pool is demoed out of the way. We're gonna have to get a roll-off dumpster in here to throw that thing out. I need to move everything else I got over there kind of out the way a little bit. Like I got a bunch of something over here going on. I don't really know. Maybe some... Oh, that's the old handle for the pipe. Or for the steps. Not exactly what that is. We're going to keep that. We're going to need that. See if we can't get that handle. Well, I guess everything else can kind of stay there. I come up with a game plan on how I think we're going to lift this thing up. Because I don't know. I got a base idea. I'd like to pick it up from the bottom of the steps. Maybe catch it from the side over there on them benches and the sides over here on the benches. What I really need to do is flip it over. I don't think that's going to work real easy. I'm going to have to bring some straps home and play with that idea. See what we can do with that. Well, folks, that might be a wrap for everything for now. I know I promised you the greenhouse by the end of February, and when I tell you it rained every weekend, it rained every weekend. I also worked half them weekends. Crazy enough. Today's Saturday. It's the first Saturday I've had off in a little while. So I'm happy about that. But man, we are going to be extremely busy at work. Probably the next 4 months. Then there'll be a little bit of a break. And then we're going to be stupid busy in October. I think we're going to try and back out of here. Not sure how plausible that's going to be. Kind of feeling like I'm partially stuck. Boy, oh boy, this is muddy. This is going to be a nasty mess for a while. But that's what happens when you got progress. Got to mess a whole lot up before you can clean it all up, I guess. Try not to track my yard up too much because I got to cut the grass when it dries. I am just plowing right through this grass. Yep, we are making a royal mess. No doubt. Let's go with the old adage. Let's just go faster. Maybe that'll work. This old mess over here, that's a whole nother story. That'll be another day. we're just gonna put this old girl right here. Let her go to sleep for a while. It's kind of funny because I just woke her up. Well, I hope y'all appreciated it. I hope y'all liked what you saw. If you did, like, subscribe, leave some comments, and we'll go from there. Thank y'all. Have a good one. Bye.